Hey, what's up guys? Khordmaster here. So in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about what I consider the single most important tool that you guys can use when we're talking about wanting to go from one chord to another chord to another chord. So let's talk about this. In the previous video, we talked about 5 different chords: C major, C minor, C major 7, C minor 7, and C dominant 7. So, and we also talked about how each of those chords can be played on any note, right? We can do C major, we can do D major, so on and so forth. Today I want to talk about something very simple, right? If we want to do a simple chord progression and go from C to G, right? Without using inversions, the way that you would probably do that is play. And I should also note the OP1, like I'm using a fingering that looks like this. Like when I do some of these videos on a regular piano, like this is not the fingering that you necessarily would use for a chord, for a triad rather. You would do something like this, right? 1, 3, and 5. But because this is a smaller keyboard, that's why I'm doing this. It's just a little bit more convenient. So I just want to note that. But when we're at C major and we want to go to G major, we're going to say, all right, well, let me find G. G is over here. So let me go there. Okay, G major. So C to G to C to G. Now, there's an easier way to do that progression without jumping around, and it sounds smoother because the notes are closer together. And that way, you guessed it, obviously, are inversions, right? Utilizing inversions. All right, so the way that we want to do this is we want to look at C major. And to form the first inversion of C major, we're going to take the root note and we're going to send it up an octave. And so you may remember that up an octave means take this note, which is C, and send it over to this C. So instead of this, we have this. This is a C major chord as well. It looks different, doesn't it? There's one note between here, there's 2 notes between here, but it's still a C major. How do you think we form a second inversion? Good. I don't know. Okay. Yes, we we send this note, which is now the lowest note, up an octave. That is second inversion, right? So root, first inversion, second inversion. Now, the reason this is important is because when we play this C major, we should notice that the common notes between C major and G major, there's only one note that's in common, right? C, E, G, G, B, D. G is the common note. So there should be a way for me to play the next chord after this and making sure that the G stays here and that the other notes that we need are over here. We just said B and D are in the chord, right? So instead of C, E, why don't we go to B, D? And G is here still. This is first inversion of G major. This is root of C major. So you see how we can go from this to this, C to G, a lot easier and quicker without having to jump around. So utilizing that technique of inversions, and they work with major 7s as well, right? So we have this. That's a first inversion. That's a second inversion. And then the third inversion would be you sending this over an octave. So it's something that's incredibly useful, incredibly important, and like I mentioned at the top of this video, probably the most important element in terms of how to move from one chord to the next when we're talking about chord progressions. So practice that a little bit and let me know if there's any questions or comments that you have. Drop those in the description box below. And I want to mention again that I have a Patreon where I teach a lot more about this, and we meet every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, there's a link in the description if you're interested in checking out a little bit more about that. And I look forward to hearing from you guys in the comments. All right, have a good one. Take care.